Hey folks, Jonathan here. Right, following day, and got the other video on. I was reading some of the posts, and a couple of people mentioned about the drain plug in the oil pan. I forgot all about putting a drain plug in this thing. Didn't think nothing about it, but I'm just kidding. I put a drain plug in. We just didn't show it all on video. Okay, folks, I opened the back of the 51 Oldsmobile 98. Here's what we found. The trunk's rusted out, which we knew that, and the here is the automatic, the hydromatic transmission taken completely apart, cross members, and what hasn't fell through the trunk is still here anyway. And there's the planetaries, torque converter taken apart. Anybody wondered what one looks like inside? This was back when torque converters was rebuildable. Some bands. That's the lower, I'm going to need that. That is the lower bell housing, and actually where the starter bolts, as you can see, and the starter is back here. And Budweiser can, never been opened, but the beer is missing, so that's a mystery. Alright. Not quite sure what can this is. Looks familiar though. Maybe we'll open it and see what's in it. Alright, well, what I wanted to show you was the jack. Here's the base for the jack, triangle. There's the jack. I like it, it's neat. It's a real bumper jack there. Okay, on the inside it says Superintendent Division Station, and the date is 6/8/1920. Conductor, Pennsylvania system. First aid kit. Name of person injured. Number of engine. So this is for the railroad. And I guess it's a first aid kit. Must be bandages and stuff. They're all stuck together. Might just jam them back down in there and close it up, huh? Probably a good idea. Neat. Okay, folks. The door. I done some damage to the door when I brought it around here. The door swung open and got a tree because it wouldn't close. It was dented anyway, and it needed replaced if somebody was going to try to do something with this car. But I made it worse. But I bought a door. So we've got a door that we're going to use on this car, and I have got plans for this car. As you can see, we got rust in the roof and dents on the roof. The floor's gone, trunk inside's gone, but that's okay. I've got some pretty big plans for it. It's just going to be in the future. But engine, I tried to turn this thing, and you know what? Between the distributor being back against the firewall and the cap being knocked off, and the fact that I realized that this hydro pulley right here is stuck tight, could be part of the reason why I can't turn it. But I'm hoping that this engine's not stuck. This is an Olds Rocket, and I think this one's a 303. I think it's a 303 cubic inch. But pulling the dipstick tube out, there's no water in it. Inside the motor anyway. We're gonna get this thing out of here because this is not in the plans for the car, so we'll save this for something different. Okay, folks. All right, I got the bearing out, and I've got a bushing made. We used the grease trick to get the bearing out, and let me see, I made a tool. Ended up just taking a bolt and cutting it off and turning it down to the right size. Packed the grease in it and then slammed it with a hammer a few times. Now, that was a sealed bearing. It was actually leaking grease out around it, so it was kind of tough, but we got it out. So what we've got now is I made a bushing, steel, put a regular Chevrolet pilot bushing in it, and opened it up on the backside far enough that if the shaft protrudes through, you know, it won't have any issues. So this is going to go in and bottom out where the other bearing was bottomed out, and this is going to be a tight press in, and that should put us out where we need to be, and we'll be able to run it like that. I'm going to put a little Loctite on it, clean this up a little bit, and then we're going to get her in there. Alright, there it is. So I think that'll work fine. If you measure it from surface to the outside, we're right at an inch. So if that's an inch, and then hard to get straight with this with the camera, but that's an inch, and if you remember right, our surface of our flywheel was 1.25 inches out. So that's actually going to work out just about perfect. So you know, when you're getting into the distances here and here, you don't have to mic it, you don't have to use a caliper. I mean, you can use a measuring tape. You know, if you're a 1/16 off or something like that, as long as you're not hitting anywhere or anything, you're fine. So it ain't no big deal. And then so now I've got to put the bell housing on, and then I have to put the flywheel up in through the bottom, and once that's on, I can probably, let me see, I guess we could put the clutch and pressure plate on it. The bearing, I'm hoping when I go down there, is going to be in the mailbox for the release, and then we can go ahead and get that bushing made. Might do that next, make the bushing for it to be able to put it in, and then we'll just put it all together, and you know, for the final time. So yeah, that's going to work out fine. This pressed in really good and tight, plus I Loctited it, so it's not going to move. And then hopefully, if it ever has to have a pilot bushing changed, the pilot bushing will come out before that. And with the press fit I put on it, it should, but you know, I can't guarantee it, of course. But I mean, if it don't, it can be taken out and then knocked through from the other side. You can barely get to the lip of it, and then knock it through, because you know, there's a counter bore on this to keep it from going in any farther. I left it out about 1/8, which wasn't a big issue. And you don't have a lot of side load or anything. This is just holding it centered. I mean, if there was a side load pushing on this thing, then would make it bigger out here, thicker. But with no side load on actual side load, because if there was a side load, it'd just wear the bushing out anyway. So, but should work out just fine like this. Should be no problems whatsoever. All right, let's go to the mailbox. Okay, folks, here's what I've done. I have turned the bushing out, and I pressed it in, and used Loctite, and got it extended out a little bit. We're going to shave it off, which is not a big deal. I'm going to drill a couple holes in it because I want to be able to get oil to it like it originally was, and then I'm going to bore this to the right size, and I don't want to make a really thin bushing and then press it in and then it be too small on the ID, so from the press. So we've got it pressed in and done. Now we just need to bore the out or the inside, and then slide our new bearing on that we got in the mail today, and that'll be done. Okay, folks, getting ready to put our new bearing on. Here's what I've done. I went inside and I bored an oil relief all the way around, just like the original, and then I took the screw out and I drilled through, and then drilled through the other hole, and I think that all of them work together to get grease to it. But I think what we're going to do, we're going to face this to where we can get to it, and which I know we can, and probably put a grease fitting on there instead of that screw and take it back out. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and maybe get the bearing pressed on, and we can probably do that about like magic. There you go, just like magic. Done. So there it is, complete. So I think now we can just start bolting stuff together. All right. Okay, I guess let's see how good it's going to. That's what it's supposed to be. We're exactly at the ID of what that other one was. The one that actually went on this transmission. So, you know, I actually, you can move it just a little bit, and I thought about going a little bit tight, but I figured that's factory spec. I better not be doing that. I don't want to cause any issues, so we just put it back where it was. So anyway, we will, how's it look? Yep, now the cats can. So I think we're going to start actually bolting everything together permanent. Put the flywheel on. Well, we've got to put the bell housing on first, and the flywheel, and then we'll just start checking this stuff out. I might slide the transmission in, just maybe put one bolt in it afterwards before we put the clutch pressure plate on, so we can all see how far this goes up in to our bushing. I want that because, you know, I'm doing this, and I could probably already be done with it, you know, if I wasn't doing videos on it, but you can't keep your mind on what you're working on sometimes when you have to stop to do videos and go find the camera and go get the camera and all that good stuff. So but I want people to see this, because it's not, you know, this is not rocket science. This is not something that you can't do with, you know, minimal tools, and you know, even with these blocks that I put on here, you know, if a man really wanted to, you know, he could grind it and drill it by hand and bolt them on, and then if he had an old lathe, you know, turn out some old bushings. And now none of this stuff I've used is new except this bearing. I bought it new, but the piece I used inside the throw-up bearing and the piece I used for the pilot bushing was all, you know, just used material. So that's one thing I don't see a need for buying a bunch of new stuff when you got plenty of old laying around. So, you know, unless you're looking for a particular hardness or something like that. But anyway, all right, let's get at her. Okay, folks, got her in, and you know, this is transmission. You got to come back out. Bell housing's on permanent. We got to finish bolting it up, but it is on permanent. And as you can see, we're going to have full contact because that shaft, of course, was so long. And as you can see, it turns no problem, really easy. So that tells you it's not in a bind or pushing over to the side or anything like that. I think it's in neutral. So good to go there. No issues. So I think it's going to work out good. I'm going to put the flywheel on. I really need to figure out if I need to cut this back at all. And I mean, I won't if I don't have to. But I want to make sure that, you know, when that clutch releases, now it don't move much at all, you know, back and forth. It more, you know, it might move a 1/16 of an inch maybe, but I just don't want it to move far enough to hit it. So I may take this off and shorten it up. It wouldn't hurt to shorten it up a little bit. I think what I'll do is take the transmission back off, and then I'll put the flywheel on, and then I'll put the transmission back on. I'd rather do that. You know, if we got to put it on and take it off 20 times, it'd still be better than not knowing, you know. So, all right, let me get it back out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so it's up in there, and as you can see, maybe right in there, we have got about 1/8 of an inch that clutch can move out before it touches the front there. And to be honest with you, I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, I know it's good it's not hitting it, but I don't think it's going to cause any issues. So I think what we'll do is go ahead and get the pressure plate mounted, clutch pressure plate and everything, and then put this thing in with the clutch fork and everything like it ought to be. And then we can call it quits on this part. Alright, folks. It's in there permanent for the last time. Transmission's bolted in, pressure plate, flywheel, everything's torqued. Should be good to go. And I don't think it's going to give us any issues. So now we can start doing the fun work, the swap, instead of keep playing with this, because you know a lot of people is not interested in this kind of stuff. But we will be working on getting the engine swapped. We'll probably pull the other one tomorrow. So, all right. Appreciate everybody watching. Until next time. Bye.